Battlefield 5 had, I can't remember. I think it's called Alloy or something. I don't remember. In Battlefield 5, there's a map in the mountains, right? It's a snowy mountain, and basically you fight in the mountains. The map is shit in daylight, right? It's absolute garbage. But when the snowstorm comes in, the map is so much better. So I'm just worried that certain maps will be absolute garbage without specific element missing or added.
Unfortunately, that's a very high potential that it's going to be that way. I mean, I'm not make that argument with Levolution events too. Which map is better, Shanghai with the tower up or Shanghai with the tower down?
Ow. I have a cramp, believe it or not. Ow.
Ow. I thought the silence was like, yeah, I can't think of anything.
No. Okay. No,
but you know, that's how Battlefield maps have kind of been since Battlefield 4. Like in this state, it's great and it's a fun thing, and in this state, it's a slog. I mean, I kind of always liked that because it still kept everything pretty varied and varied enough that it helped keep everything fresh. And I think in spite of some configurations just not being the best in the world, I honestly feel like they should remain and be that way in order to make you appreciate the times when I guess it would kind of be like the real life lesson, you know? You hate the weather when it's bad, but it makes you appreciate the good weather all the better.
Oh my god, I'm in so much pain.
Fuck, man! I thought you were like,
no. I'm good. I'm fully listening. I'm standing. I'm still hosting the podcast while standing while in fucking pain. I'm good. No,
but I mean, you get what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
It would give the game the amount of variety that the community's kind of been clamoring for. It would do it in a way that makes sense, and it would do it in a way that shouldn't be that taxing. I'm not necessarily saying it wouldn't be. I'm saying it shouldn't be. Because the thing is once you get a system rolling and going, everything's, as far as I'm concerned, in my work, in the way I work, the way I do things, once you get a process rolling, everything gets better. Everything gets easier after the fact. Like it's the hardest thing is building the machine, but once the machine's running, all you really got to do is just fine tune it.
Yeah,
it's putting the care in to get it to that point.
Yeah. Also, I hope they can build the maps in a way that will be easy to change something. I know it's probably not possible from a game development point of view, but I would love to have maps that you can change for balance reasons or whatever the case may be. Because certain maps will not be good. I mean, I think that's a given. You can't predict how people are gonna react to a certain map, right? You can't.
Yeah, and that's why I say they need to lean on like heat mapping and monitoring and stuff like that, and actually observe and track how players are playing these maps and adjust them accordingly. That I think is another thing that they really need to do that COD just doesn't do.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Regarding modes, what kind of modes do you expect to be on launch day?
The usual Conquest. We know Conquest is going to be there.
Speaking of wait, before we continue, I just want to mention. So Conquest, right? See, I love Conquest. I always love Conquest. I always prefer over Breakthrough, Rush, or whatever the case may be. My problem with Conquest, and especially I know that DICE developers love to reinvent the wheel with Conquest for many reasons. And honestly, it's a good thing because Conquest is never been a perfect mode. Always like
Rush was always the perfect mode.
In a sense, because it was simple, right? You get number of tickets, you have to destroy the objective in this number of tickets, in this many lives.
Go that way, shoot the people. That's it.
Yeah. But Conquest, I always had a problem with how the calculations always happened with Conquest. For example, remember that drama in Battlefield 1 where they tried to make games a bit less loop-sided and more closer to each other, as in it's not a steamroll, whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah, we learned that you can't do that.
So the way they designed the system in Battlefield 1, the Conquest system in Battlefield 1, I remember I made a video where basically we barely controlled the objective, like the majority of the flags for majority of the match, right? I think it was I have to remember. 25 minutes. No, wait. Maybe it's like 15 minutes versus 5 minutes or something like that. I can't remember. I need to check.
We maintained a rough, I think it was like 20% of the objectives for 75% of the game, and still managed to win it the last 5 minutes, I think.
Yeah, somehow
we were like, this is dumb. This should not be possible.
It was so unbalanced and not fair whatsoever. I do remember that. There's a video on my channel. I need to find it. But basically, we control 2 flags, then we control 3 flags. And majority of the time, literally 70-80% of the game, they controlled those 3 flags. Somehow we won.
Which means it should have been a steamroll per ticket bleed.
Yeah, somehow we won. But okay, I understand it can't be just a pure ticket bleed. It can't be just a steamroll because it's technically not. We still don't control 2 matches. But we could not. There was no right for us to win that game. So my always problem with Conquest was, since Battlefield 1, before even Battlefield 1 came out, my always problem was that the scoring system. Like, they need to find a way. Well, here's the thing. I made a scoring system for Battlefield Conquest to make it even and exciting and representative of the true value how the match went. I made a system. It's on my website. I sent it to DICE and so on. But the reason I realized something, it's like they will never use that system I created, is because it's not in their... I'm not a DICE or EA employee. So technically, they can't really take a fan's work and apply it to their game because suddenly it's a legal problem. Like,
I find that excuse to be wholly just dumb.
It is. I agree.
Because I really don't. I don't believe for a second it's a legal problem as much as it's a fucking pride problem for them.
Maybe,
our people couldn't come up with it. It really is. I mean, per the conversations that you and I had before we even started recording, okay? Because this kind of leans into that, too. It's a matter of pride for them in some cases. Man, I can't believe that home gamer came up with a better idea than I did, and they're not even getting paid for this shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what I think it boils down to at the end of the day.
Maybe.
And unfortunately, it wasn't always like that. Companies need to just suck it up and shut up and just accept a good idea when it's a good idea. It shouldn't matter who came up with it. If you feel that it's going to be a big legal trouble in order to make an idea, and you can't even at least have the decency to go, yeah, this person, at the very least, this person came up with the idea, and go, yeah, we should give them a little something, but in the long run, it helped us out. We're making more money as a result thereof, so we're not really hurt by somebody outside of our wheelhouse making this thing, and man, yeah, we got to give them a 1% cut of it and whatever, but man, I mean, you do the math on it. If you look at it on the surface, you go, yeah, I can kind of understand why a company would do that. But if you do the math on it, they're really pissing and moaning over 1% of $1 million to do the math on it. That's not a lot of money. 1% of $1 million is, I think, like $10,000. Fuck, are you kidding me? They're pissing and moaning because they'd have to pay somebody $10,000 for coming up with a good idea. Wow, I'm so fucking sympathetic for EA for not wanting to pay us a couple of measly $1,000 goddamn dollars and sign a fucking contract where we have to say that we're not entitled to any more money after the fact, and we come up with something that makes them millions of fucking dollars. Or they couldn't even go, hey man, you guys want to come work for us? And then you can refine this idea here in our house. It'll be our idea from there on out. But, here's the thing. A little bit of cooperation and an olive branch goes a long fucking way besides just going, I don't want to deal with the lawyers.
Yeah, so I you know
it
what?
Sounds pathetic.
For this episode, I'll link my Conquest proposal in the description so people can check it out and read it. But I will fight for the system for the rest of my life until Battlefield is dead as a franchise, because I personally think, yeah, sure, I'm a designer of it, but I think I created such an I will stand by it. I think I created an amazing system that represents the true value how the match of Conquest went. Let's see what they're gonna do for Conquest.
I can sit here and easily make an argument that the reason why a lot of fucking content, and anything in any video game is so fucking stale nowadays is because they stopped taking ideas from the community. They stopped listening to the community.
And I sent it to many DICE developers. Some of them already quit, don't work at DICE anymore. So I don't know. We'll see. I still bother specific people about it. We'll see.